guys, this is just a quick video on Azure DNS. So, and I guess DNS in general, but this will give you, I guess, more information about DNS in Azure. Okay, but basically there are different type of DNS, right? DNS obviously is IP to name resolution. Like if you don't know about that, that's probably not a video for you if you don't know what's DNS. Okay, so but yeah, basically you have different kind of DNS. You have the Azure DNS, which is basically if you want to query something publicly over the internet, you can use Azure DNS. And then you have a private DNS, which is within the Azure cloud, and basically you use this to, if you want to query Azure guess endpoints within the private Azure cloud. Let's say if you're connecting, if your tenant is in Azure and you don't want to go to the public internet to be able to look at a endpoint, again, this could be done like if you're using private link basically. Okay, and then you have the Azure DNS private resolver, meaning if you want to resolve those endpoints using its private IP instead of the public IP. Okay, so as you can see, this is the main page for the Azure DNS. Okay, and there's a lot of information here. Okay, they talk about the public, private resolver. There's the how-to guys tutorial, how-to guys. So we're just gonna use this document to go through them. Okay, I'm gonna close this. So that's the intro. And I think first thing, what is the problem statement? Okay, Azure, and in this case we're gonna use pretty much all of this for this problem statement. Okay, the main problem statement here is you want to resolve Azure and on-premise domain using, again, the aforementioned product. Okay, and I just want to do a quick whiteboard on this. Okay, let's say you have an on-premise infrastructure. Okay, and in Microsoft Word we call this like a custom DNS, or yeah, on-premise DNS. So I guess the other name for that. Basically, there's a express route that connects your on-prem to the Azure hub virtual network, and this is like a hub and spoke model. Okay, so this is the hub here, and this is your spoke. So spokes are, I guess, different VNet, different subnetwork in your Azure infrastructure, and really that is used to segregate the network traffic, right? So this is a typical Microsoft best practice architecture. So you have an on-prem that's connects to the hub network, and you have spokes that basically divides resources within the net segment, basically the network segmentation in this case. Okay, so here what we're trying to do again is to resolve Azure and on-prem domains. Okay, and the way they do that is, I have an example here actually. and we're gonna discuss this quickly, and you can go to this URL to read more to it. Okay. So the thing here is, let's say you have a client, okay, even this one here, like a VM in your visual network that needs to query a DNS record. Okay, so if there's a specified DNS server configuration here, so it could be like because within this VNet, okay, the VNet itself, you can actually specify you can specify here a custom DNS, or you can leave it blank so it will use the Azure DNS. Okay, so if you specify a custom DNS here, what will happen is basically this VM will talk to your custom DNS here. Okay, in that case, let's say you're trying to resolve google.com, let's just say. Okay, so that VM here will see this obviously, and it will talk to this, and this will give it the Google IP, and then back and forth. Okay, it will get the IP and browse to it, right? But let's say you have a custom app. Your custom app, let's say, is in here. Okay. Let's say it's a storage account. Storage account that private link that blob that Azure blob DNS. Okay, so normally they do it like this for the blob service. Okay, so you have storage account blob.core.windows.net. So at this point you have the blob.core.windows.net, and basically this one has a public IP. Okay, this is basically, let's say you have something here. This is the guy which is on the Microsoft network. Okay, that's basically it. And basically there's a public IP. Okay, pub IP, and that IP, let's say, is 10.20.20.20. Okay, so this public IP registers to this name, which is in the DNS of, obviously it's in here like a DNS here, .net, right? That's the root. Okay, for example, root DNS. That is in the internet. Okay, so what happened at this point is, let's say this guy wants to talk to this, and it's this IP address. So this again goes to custom. Custom knows how to go here, and basically this one tells it this is the IP, goes back, can talk to this, right? But let's say you create a private link here. Okay, this is right now public, right? Because there's also an option to create a private link. Okay, so you create a private link here, going here, and this is your private IP. Okay, and let's say that private IP is 10.2.2.2. Okay, so in that case, and the DNS here will be storage account. Okay, I think I put it here. See, this is the private link. Let me copy this. And the public one is this one. Let's say this is the public one. Okay. So let's say this guy wants to talk to this using the private IP. In that case, what will happen is you need to register this using a private zone. Okay, so it's gonna be connected to this guy here. So there's two ways of doing it. You can actually create a forwarder here, or you can create a what do you call this? You can a static DNS entry here that basically say this guy is this IP. Okay, so what happens is talk to this, go to custom DNS, static entry says that's 10.2.2.2, talk back, and this guy can now connect to this guy here. Okay. But let's say you don't want to do this part here because it's manual, right? You just want to create this and register it to the private zone. Okay, in that case, what will happen here, if you don't want to do this, is you create this what you call inbound endpoint PIP 10005, and basically you create this private resolver. Okay, so what will happen in this case is this guy will try to connect to this guy. Okay, but this, instead of going through, and again you create a single entry here. Okay, single entry here. You create a single entry here. It's basically a conditional, it's a conditional forwarder that tells it if you want to go to Windows.net, talk to 10.0.5.10. Okay, so what happened here, if we, again, this is set up to talk to the custom DNS, okay, which is this guy here. But this guy basically tells it Windows.net, you need to talk to this guy here. And since this guy is a private resolver, it knows how to talk to the private DNS zone. Private DNS zone says it's 10.2.2.2, so it goes back like that. Okay, and then back to the VM. Okay, that's for the inbound endpoint. Okay, now let's say this guy here For some reason, let's say this is this one, you want to talk it to the on-prem guy here. Okay, so let's say you have this endpoint dot onprem.com, which is part of this custom DNS. So what you do at this point, you basically create a rule here, rule set. The rule set is like a conditional forwarder, basically to tell it to go to custom DNS for onprem.com resolution. So what happened then, let's say this guy here wanted to talk to this guy, same thing. Okay, so this will now go here, and then this one tells it, oh, there's a rule set for that, for the ep.onprem.com we need to go to this guy. Okay, and this one, let's say, has an IP of 192.168.1.8. So once he did that, it's gonna come back and get that IP, and that's how the outbound endpoint, it's basically on-premise domain will be resolved by the outbound endpoint with a conditional rule from a rule set. Conditional rule, again, is like a conditional forwarder. Okay. But for the private DNS zone, which is this one, this guy here, again, this is private. As you can see, this is private, this is public, this is on-prem. There's three of them. Okay. So private DNS zone is record will be resolved from the on-premise via inbound endpoint. So this is, let's say, an on-premise, this is on-premise. Okay, so same idea here. It's going to go to the custom DNS. There's a conditional forwarder for this particular private link. It talks to this guy to go to the private resolvable and get the private IP. And that's it, guys. Hope you find this useful, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.